أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه والذين اتبعوهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. We thank Almighty Allah, we glorify His name, we supplicate Allah to send His unlimited mercy upon the soul of the noblest Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah be pleased with him, his household, his companions, and those who are on his path till the day of accountability. My brethren, once again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم
وعليكم
السلام
السلام ورحمة
ورحمة
الله
الله
وبركاته.
وبركاته.
Okay. Owing to the fact that we have concluded discussions on types of marriages and types of marriage and so on, and the technicalities and differences between them, we were able to settle for one that is better than the other, that is Islamic, and that is rewarding. I would allow us to open this floor for questions and answers concerning all we have discussed. And if possible, if you have another question that is important outside our fold of discussion. So, Bismillah. If there is any
Assalamu
question. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
There is this WhatsApp posting that is being circulated for about 24, 48 hours now about a lady in Ikire, Oshun area regarding the issue of DNA. This lady has 4 children for the man, and for one reason or the other, they have to go through DNA test. And unfortunately, the DNA test result revealed that the 4 children are not the husband's children. And she's claiming to have been in this relationship since 2007. Now, my question is this. And she one of her reasons why this happened was because the husband couldn't perform to impregnate her, if I could put it that way. My question, why should it take so long for a woman to bring this up, either with the man directly or with the family, or to seek help before you get to this stage? That is the first one. 2, how do we reconcile this to determine who is the biological father of these children? Because there is nobody claiming or taking ownership or taking responsibility of these 4 children other than the purported husband or biological father.
Okay. I love the question you brought in. Even the second part is the most interesting part of it. I've discussed this issue in my regular Thursday lectures, and the video is circulated that if Islam gives room for opting out, even at the eve of wedding or immediately after the wedding is conducted, Islam does not allow for premarital sex, but immediately the marriage is conducted, the wedding is conducted, and the woman discovers there is a problem of active performance in his husband, in her husband, the first thing is to seek for help, as you have suggested. And this is one of my recommendations in that video, that you seek for medical attention. They will place your husband on some medical solutions, and it requires discipline. If that is done and there's no remedy, it requires discipline. Take into cognizance what you consume, the kind of food your husband takes, the kind of drinks he takes, the kind of lack of exercise, the kind of exercise that's good for him. This will go a long way in bringing back his activeness. And if this is also done and no positive change, that means it is natural. It could be natural. Or before we could settle that it is natural, it could be a result of sorcery or black magic. One could be affected spiritually, afflicted spiritually with inactivity in bed, even to the extent of not even having ejaculation at all. So ruqya should be done. Spiritual remedy should be considered. And after all this, if it remains the same, then there is a problem, and the woman is allowed to go. I could post my lecture, I think 2 weeks ago on this, that you can opt out. Yeah, what I got, what I wanted versus what I got in my marriage. That's the title of my lecture. So there is nothing bad in opting out. But at times, our society does not support some realities. If the woman says she wants to go, our family will be saying, ah, be patient now. Ṣe sùúrù now. Àbọ̀nbọ̀ wa ló kọjá ẹ̀. Ìnáwó alárinrin tá a pèrò sí. Do you know how much we have spent on your maid wedding? Don't do that, oh. It's shameful, oh. Don't bring our name, don't rub our name in the mud. You understand? Ah, And then uh, she herself could be so greedy. Greed could be another cause that she's enjoying the money of the man. She doesn't want to go, but her mind is somewhere else, and she wants to permutate her own way so as to stay in that marriage so that she'll be enjoying the wealth of that man. All these is an act of insincerity and lack of discipline and lack of contentment and God fearing. So if this happens, one should opt out instead of adultery, instead of being impregnated by another man and bringing the pregnancy to the home of an innocent man. This is just what Allah just blew this. There are many of it. In fact, I don't trust any woman. I don't trust any woman these days because I have these cases at hand, more than 7. When I do marital counseling, marriage counseling, I have this case at hand, more than 7. Someone is very close to me here. We almost see every day. All our 3 children are not for her husband, and the husband is not aware. Why? Because of infertility, and they have spent a lot of money. So she decided to be seeing her old-time friend, and that man impregnates her at wish. The woman will just travel to him, and once they copulate, just once, she will be impregnated and come back home. So May Allah save us. You have to be sincere and we have to be, what's it called, blunt to say the truth when it comes to the beam. I can't cope anymore because of this. I don't want to resort to this. But out of lack of Islamic understanding, we stand to dismantle every settled cases. Then, secondly, you said, what is the stand of Islam? How do we determine the father of the husband, of the kids? We can only determine the father of the kids by the man whose marriage is valid. Whose marriage is valid. This man is the owner of the children in the Islamic law. In the Islamic law, yeah. He is the rightful owner of the children. And that woman should be dealt with. Her punishment is stoned to death. And if the man that impregnated her is known as well, that is her punishment. But this man doesn't have anything to lose. Islam says he is the rightful owner of the kids. It's as simple as that. My own observation and caution is that since Islam has given us the grace of ownership of the children, even if we are doubting our wife, please don't go extra mile and resorting to DNA, or else you will lose your health, you will drag your name in the mud, and you will lose, you may lose all you have suffered for. There is nothing to gain in DNA. There is nothing to gain in DNA for man if you are doubting your wife. This woman will just be put to shame after 6 months. Let me say after 3 weeks, another breaking news will surface and we'll be dragging that. And our issue will be forgotten for a while. And she will continue living her life. Our children will not run away from her. It is the husband that will eventually become the victim. Why not staying with what Allah has ordained and live your own way of getting things done? If you are a Muslim, you submit your will to Allah. So submit your will to Allah by not going for DNA, even if you are doubting your wife. Kọ́lọ́run kó gbàdúrà wa, ọlọ́mọdé á fún wa ní ìyàwó tí ó pa wá. Bó ṣe rí nìyẹn. Salaam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
So for those just joining us, tonight is a question and answer. So if you do have any questions regarding what we've discussed in the past, or any question regarding any topic, please do ask. You can type in the chat box or raise your hand. Whilst we're waiting, Ustaz, so regarding last week's topic about soothsayers, and something just popped into my head. I was thinking that so which is very common. It's also common in our culture, and even though it's not, well, I guess it would depend on the intention why you went the ball. It's very common that we just go to, you know, scholars. We want to have this dua. Oh, maybe somebody told me, oh, just go to them. They can just give you just normal. Like you just go to somebody that is well respected, well revered in the community, just to make dua for you, or just maybe to come and read the Quran or something for you, or something like that. And then you go to them, and then they start to say, oh, and I know Islamically, there are some people that Allah has given certain sort of qualities to. There are people that have dreams. There are people that when they speak, it comes to pass. That which it does happen, and I feel we're meant to believe in that Islamically. So In this case, you go to this scholar, and you didn't go there specifically to go and seek about your future, or to go and seek to go and check a particular spouse, or to go and decide about a particular job, but you just went there generally that okay, they said this person makes the one, is this and that, okay, I'm just gonna go just to see. And then whilst you're there, they start to say, oh, I saw this and that. Oh, I think this has happened to you. I think this, they start to discuss, or they start to advise you, oh, if you want to marry, avoid this type of complexion, or do not, those kind of things. So I wanted to ask that, what would be the situation or the judgment in that? Because it's not the same that you didn't go there specifically seeking the opinion, or specifically checking, like what do they call it, like fortune tellers. You didn't go there specifically for that. You just went there for dua. But this man is somebody that Allah's, well, and I said that with a bit of a caution, because I know there are people that obviously are doing in the sort, they're adding traditional practices into it, which we know it's not permissible. But there are people that, because of their commitment to Allah, because of their piety, or maybe there is one particular thing they are doing in their life, and because of that, when they ask something from Allah, Allah gives it to them. Or there are people that Allah has given the gift that they are able to perceive something, or they're able to see. So sorry about that. So yeah, so that's my question, Sheikh. That what will be the judgment in that? As we know, the professor said that the intentions are actions are judged according to intention. So number one, what will be the judgment in that? Then secondly, uh, is it okay to take? So now there's a difference that you specifically went to some, and you went to this party, you went there, gave this person's name, I want to marry this person, what do you think? Oh, I want to apply for this job. But in this case, they're just giving you an advice: avoid this complexion, or I can see you want to go for a job, I can see you just started a job, but be careful. It's just an advice, but you've taken that advice on board. Obviously, you're still living your life, you're still going about your daily life and still doing it, but you are taking that on board, that okay, this man said I should avoid this type of person, or they said, oh, uh whatever advice they've given, basically. So I just want you to clarify on that in my own understanding, it's two different situations. But would that still be going against the principles of Islam, in terms of the fact that this person is still a human? Yes, there are people that we know Allah bless them in a different way, but they're still human. They're still create a creation, and only Allah knows tomorrow. Only Allah knows what everybody has been destined with, or been written down for, and so on. So, what is your take on that, Sheikh?
Well, that's good. Alhamdulillah. One after the other, there is nothing bad in going to a respected scholar or a respected Muslim brother or an upright Muslim brother to pray for one. It is Sunnah, and even before the prophets, it has been the Sunnah of all other prophets. People go to them for prayers, and they also go to people for counseling. Example of what Musa did with Khidir. He went to him for counseling and spiritual upliftment, spiritual knowledge, and so on and so forth. Even during the era of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, people used to go to him and seek for prayer. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also advised Umar to look for a man called Uwais al-Qarni. That Uwais al-Qarni will not have the opportunity to see the prophets. The prophet will have left before that man came to Medina or for Hajj. But the prophet told Omar that if you go for Hajj, go to the people of Yemen, ask for Uwais al-Qarni. He's a man of God. When you see him, he has some particular scars in his body and other signs mentioned by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Tell him to pray for you. Tell him to pray for you. So this is an authentication that you can go to people whom you revert to, whom you revere to pray for you. Or when getting there, they tell you some certain things. It is not your intention to seek for any other thing other than prayer, but they begin to tell you, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this. There's nothing bad in that because the Prophet of Allah says, "Ittaqu firasat al-mu'min." He said, take into cognizance and appreciate the vision of a mu'min. فَإِنَّهُ يَنْظُرُ بِنُورِ اللَّهِ, because he sees with the light of God. So you yourself, before going to him, you've attested to him being an upright and a revered upright Muslim brother or scholar. So what you need to consider is, what was he checking? Is it sound, water, Quran, rosary, or what? Then there are some people. Hello, am I in class?
Yes, you are.
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Some people that they have used some concoction to see things and to listen to dictations of jinn. So they don't need to check sand before telling you some things. So you don't know this. All you need to say is thank you and continue with your spiritual consultation from Allah. Continue with that. Continue with your istikhara. What Allah does, what Allah deems better, seems yes, is going to be done to you. And you are going to be divinely guided. So believing in them in that aspect does not make you an infidel, because Allah knows what you don't know. You have considered what he checked. You discovered that he didn't check the sand. Neither did he check, what was it called? Rosary, or what was it called? Where your Kauri. I'm not good.
Yes,
So,
Kawi.
all sort of things. You discover that he didn't check any. But you never knew whether he used some concoction for listening and receiving revelation, or let me say dictation from the jinn. So, and we, as Muslims, we can only judge by what we see, with what we see. Don't judge with what you emphasize or what you speculate. No, no, no. You have to be very sure with what you judge. So, using that kind of advice does not make you an infidel and does not affect your iman. But the best thing is to seek for dua from people you deem they are upright, and continue with your own consultation as well with istikhara. So whatever that comes after that is qadar, is destiny. Thank you for that question.
Jazakumullah khairan, Sheikh. Do we have any further questions? Once again, you can type in the chat box or you can raise your hands. Alhaji, you come, please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, you start.
Alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
my question is on sabur, patience, because I joined this admonition late, and I caught a few of your sentence, and where you refer to the fact that in our society we tend to say, be patient, etc., etc., and we also know that, according to the word of Allah, we are enjoined to be patient generally. And I know, and the question I'm asking is general, because it covers a situation that I too find myself in. And my question is simply put, is how long can one be patient in a given situation when, to all intents and purposes, it is very glaring that, the situation represents a situation that is unjust and is not right. In that circumstances, can one really, go by that edict of just being patient, and even if one is able to exercise that, for how long?
Patience about inability of the husband to perform.
No, not specifically that particular situation. I'm just applying, the concept of patience.
There are some things in life that should be avoided, and there are some things in life that patience should be exercised upon them. Not all things we have patience on. Some things we avoid and choose another path. There are some things we just have to be patient on so that we'll have good results. So one needs to understand the irony of life. For example, let me narrow it down to that situation that was brought by Alaji Orekoya. Sex is an integral part of life and part of marriage. So why marriage if there's no sex? And after trying all possible best, we discover that this man cannot do anything. Why waiting? What type of patience would we admonish the victim to embark on or to exercise? No, we just want to kill her because she's in need of this thing. Sharia says there is a window for that, for lack. File for divorce and go. But a situation whereby the husband can perform, but not to the climax, and is a good man that takes care of his bill 100%, and then hard working and God fearing, an upright man. So we can ask the woman to be patient because he does, but not to the climax. We can only improve. We can only help the man to improve on his ability. So in that aspect, patience can work, not in zero performance. So we need to understand this. There are some things they need to be avoided. There are some things patience has to be exercised upon them. Now, there are many cases around us. There are many offers, good job offers, that they will say, okay, you cannot pray here. No time for prayer. But they give time for what? For lunch. They give time for breakfast. Don't go there and be fighting. I won't come again. Oh, I will reject you. I will revoke your clinic. No. Or what's it called? I will leave your job for you. No, don't say that. Use the time for lunch for your own prayer. That's all. You have to be patient because there is a window. And the window is what? That time for lunch. You partition it. One for lunch and the other half for prayer. So the only problem. So you are the one to be steadfast in what you do. You have your prayer mat with you in one corner of the restaurant. My brother, lay your mats and pray. And if you want to now sack you because you use lunch time for prayer, and that means they have a very serious interior motive, then you can go. But don't fight them. Don't say, I won't take it. You can take it. Using your half time for prayer could also change so many things. Now Allah will now say, okay, there is another Muslim who is a weak Muslim. Then I will use your own action to illuminate his heart, and he will be joining you. That's a form of Germany here. Somebody question violently, the company can later decide that, okay, let's give them a portion, a room, or let me say a demarcated place for them to observe their prayer, because it doesn't cause wahala. They didn't shout. They don't shout. They don't do anything. So patience can make possible the impossibilities. So why avoidance at times can actually bring life and peace. So we need to understand where to apply both and where not to apply them. Thank you for that question.
Jazakallah. Likewise, alhamdulillah.
I want to use this medium.
Likewise.
Wallahi, I want to use this medium to apologize to both of you. I accept my apology. I was supposed to have checked on you. We are very, very sorry.
No, it's all right, my apology as well. I know you're a very busy man. I know that. So
I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
Wallahi, I have you on my mind that I can think but I'm very sorry.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Allah will tell you no.
I mean, Ashe, we appreciate it. Jazakallah.
Another question? Any other question? Hello?
Well, this isn't a question, Salaam alaikum, but it's something that I experienced very recently. That and I know we've covered that topic here in terms of all the schisms and share and no share and what have you. And to be quite honest with you, it's still a source of sadness for me. To actually see it, play out physically and directly. Basically, there's a mosque I normally go to pray where I work at lunchtime.
There is a what?
I normally go to pray.
Okay.
Masjid, lunchtime. And it just so happened that a Pakistani guy, well, Asian, anyway, I assume he's Pakistani. He was walking past the mosque and he stood there. I was sort of at the door, just speaking to the receptionist guy. He stood there for a minute and he was looking at the place. Then he walked past and he was continuing. So the guy at the reception then said, oh, maybe he's looking for a mosque to pray So I went out I went after him basically. And I kind of greeted him. as normal. And then I said, "Oh, are you looking for a mosque to pray? Because where you are standing is actually, it's a masjid." Then he asked me. Then the next thing he asked me was, "Oh, what sort of mosque is it?" So I said, "I beg your pardon." I said, "I'm not with you. What do you mean? You know, are you trying to say, is he Shia? Is he Sunni?" I said, "If that's what you're getting at," I said, "I don't believe in that, because my understanding, a Muslim is a Muslim according to the word of Allah, and a masjid is a masjid. It's the house of Allah. It's a place to pray. Meaning, that's all I know. So I can't tell you what you're asking me." So I kind of left him, and I went back to the mosque. But I just felt sad that, in this day and age of, enlightenment, and where, the word of Allah is quite clear, and the Sunnah are quite clear, that people are still grappling onto, to concept that doesn't really, that goes against everything that, every word of Allah, and what the religion actually, stand for. And the more I reflect on it, the more I just, and I see it played out even within our community in other ways. Maybe not as blunt as that, but it looks that there are a lot of politics going on. And people focus on that, the concept of power, control. And as a result, they lose sight of what is really important. I just wanted to share that experience with everybody here, because it does my mind in. I just can't phantom it.
May Allah unify our ummah.
I mean,
there are a lot of philosophical, let me say, belief that has crept into Islam, and it has divided us since the demise of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Since his demise, we have Sunni, we have Shia, we have Mu'tazila, we have Ma'turidiyya, we have Asha'ira, we have Qadariyya, we have Jibriyya, we have Quraniyya. A lot of sects that sprang up after the demise of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I don't believe in all these shenanigans. I call them shenanigans because you can't know Islam better than the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As far as Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, as best, let me say, as better as they are, I don't refer to myself as one of them. I don't say I'm Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. I'm a Muslim because all these names came after the demise of the Prophet. There was nothing like that. There were nothing like Ahlul Sunnah. There were nothing like Shia. There was nothing like Maturidiyya while the Prophet was alive. And Allah did not even say you should die as Ahlul Sunnah, you should die as Maturidiyya, as Shia. What he said was, die as a Muslim. And how better can you be a Muslim? You can be a better Muslim by following the injunction of Allah as explained by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and following the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and those that he authenticated. The Khulafa al-Rashidun, there are only four: Abu Bakr, Umar, Usman, Ali. So if you can be practicing your Islam according to the according to this, then you are a real Muslim. No, you can't be a perfect Muslim, but you are a real Muslim. But following people's indoctrination, people's belief, people's understanding, except that of Allah and His Prophet and the four Sahaba, Subhanallah. There is no how you won't see your brother and call him another name. Calling name, attaching name and a sect to Islam is one of the most saddening things that has happened to this ummah. So a Shia, the way the Shia observe their Salah, Subhanallah, you wouldn't have evidence for it in Quran and the Sunnah, the way they do. So I can pray behind them. Never. They call it tuqya. They have a different way of performing doing the tashahud, attire, a different way of prostration, a different way of supplication in salah. Subhanallah. So I can't see their masjid and stay behind their imam and follow him. No, I can pray in their masjid, but according to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam narration, not according to their own narration. So these are the things. Somebody asked the question last week that an imam that is obvious that he consults, he's a consultant on what's it called? Let me say astrology, and then it's a soothsayer, a fortune teller that many imams in this part of the globe, many of them are into this. And there is a very big sanction, a very big blow on those who consult, what is it called? Let me say the Yepe, before they decide their decision, before they take their decision. Two solid hadiths that will make you not to pray behind them is what I'm about to tell you. One, Allah says, the Prophet Allah says, whoever goes to the sorcerer or a soothsayer or a fortune teller and believes him as disbelieved with what was revealed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When you that go to him has become a disbeliever, what will become of him? What will become of him? Though there is no any clear evidence on what will become of him, but we can fetch out what will become of him from what will become of those who consulted him. That's one. Two is that the Prophet of Allah says, whoever that goes to them and believes them, his prayer for 40 days will not be accepted. So which means if such a person leads, his prayer is null and void. So if that is ascertained, I wouldn't feel fine praying behind such imam. But if I don't know, I shouldn't. It is none of my duty to be asking people, say, "Oh man, if I don't know, judge with what you know and what you see. Don't judge with what you don't know and what you have not seen. Even if there are speculations, confirm it first. After confirmation, then take the best decision. Imam yóò mọ̀ wo sẹ́ Sufi ni. Ṣé gbogbo Sufi ni wo sẹ́? Ṣé bí wọ́n bá Sufi jẹ́ ni? Wọ́n fi ń pè làwọn tán wo sẹ́ fi ń pè àwọn Sufi. Wọ́n bá Sufi jẹ́ làwọn tán ń pè làwọn jó oògùn sí ń pè àwọn lórí Sufi. Sufi kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀. So don't say, mo fura sí. Yóò mọ̀ wo sẹ́. I will not pray behind him. No, 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 no. Pray behind him and leave everything to God. But if it is clear that nǹkan tó ń ṣe lélẹ́yìí àmúmọ́ dáadáa àwọn tó ń ṣe, then don't waste your time. But in their masjid, no, you can pray there. For a Muslim to ask what sort of masjid it is, means something is wrong somewhere. So it is highly disheartening and saddening to be witnessing this. But nothing we can do. We just need to sensitize our Muslim brothers and sisters, to know the real Islam. And the real Islam can only be known through Allah and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you notice my lectures, I don't quote from let me say from scholars, sheikh, scholars of sects. You hardly see me quoting Sheikh Abdul Qadir, Sheikh Ibrahim, Sheikh Tijani, Ibn Taymiyyah, Imam Ghazali. No, you hardly see me. I go straight to the point. The word of Allah, the word of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the understanding of Sahaba on it. And if need be, I can quote some scholars, but not based on their sect, based on their knowledge of Quran and the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, in trying to belong to a sect, you are trying to disunify uh, one ummah, but that doesn't say we should not know where to be and how to manage one another. Thank you for that question, Alaji Vehiko.
Yeah, thank you for such a comprehensive answer. I learned enough from even the explanation you've given throughout. Thank you. Jazakallah.
Yeah, we still have more time. If anyone else has question, and while we're waiting, Sheikh. So regarding wiping over the kufain, the socks. So I came across something recently, saying that so what I read before was that the timing of the wiping, and they're saying something different, which might be applicable to the Hanafiya school, but I didn't really clarify with the teacher because I didn't want to make a sin. So the understanding that I had before was the wiping, no, the time it starts to count at the first wipe. But they've said, and I think they're quoting from the Muqtasar Kuduri's book. I'm not sure if you're aware of that book, Sheikh. So they're saying that the time it starts to count from where you lose your wudu. So either, for example, I put on the socks at 12 a.m. I mean, less than 9 a.m. and then I lost my wudu at 12. And so the time it starts to pass at 12, even though if I maybe delay my wudu till, I don't know, till like 5 p.m. later on. I'm not sure if I'm making any sense of the question, but the saying start from the time you lose wudu, but I'm thinking, and they will further research. I've been looking into this as well. I feel a lot of scholars said that no, it starts from the time of wiping, but the teacher was very firm that no, it starts from when you lose wudu. And I just said, okay, fine. I would leave it at that because I didn't want to argue. Obviously, they're experts and more knowledgeable than I am. So, but I wanted to get your own clarification on that.
On when the time to lose wudu?
No, the timing. So you think of like a resident 24 hours and for a traveler at 72 hours. So when does that timing starts to count? Is it at the point of the first wipe when you renew your wudu, or at the point where you lose your when you lose the first wudu after putting on the socks?
This is part of what we are saying. What is clear and evident in the word of the Prophet is that there are certain things that nullify wudu, whether soft, dry ablution or the wet ablution, whether wiping on socks or performing the regular wudu. If some certain things are not happened, then there's nothing. Nothing has affected your wudu. One, we all know fat. When you fat, the implication is that you have lost your wudu. Excretion, when you heat yourself, the implication is that you have lost your wudu. Slumber, a deep slumber, when you do that, you have lost your wudu. Proper sleep, If it happens, it means one has lost one's wudu. Even eating has not affect, it does not affect wudu. But engaging in some talk would definitely affect wudu. So, but if none of these happen, then you have not lost your wudu. If none of this happen, you have not lost it. So, but what is important is that it is good to be renewing wudu, whether whether it gets spoiled or not. Because there's one hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that says, "Al-wudu'u ala-al-wudu'i nurun ala nur." Ablution upon ablution is light upon light. So do not wait till the time you lose it before you renew it. And then even if you are not willing to pray, if it is not time for prayer, and you lose your wudu, don't wait till the time of another prayer. You can renew it without prayer. But the best thing is that if you renew it, if it is a time that one can observe nafila, then you can use the opportunity of renewing your wudu to observe 2 rakah nafila. For there is virtue in it. One of the virtues is that when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was invited by Allah to the heaven, and he was shown the hell and the heaven. So when he was in the Jannah, he said, I was hearing the sound of Bilal's shoe or Bilal's movement in front of me. And I asked Allah, your promise is that no one would dwell into Jannah before me, but this is the sound of Bilal's trek in front of me. Would Bilal be admitted into Al-Jannah before me? Allah says no. But he has something good that he does that earn him this grace of leading your queue. And when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam got back to our normal life, he asked Bilal what he saw in Jannah. I had your feet, the sound of your feet before me. And I was told you have a very unique good deed that you do that earns you that exalted position. What do you do? Bilal told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that one thing I know I do often is that whenever my wudu, my ablution got spoiled, I renew it and I will not let it go like that. I will renew it myself. Then I will use the opportunity to observe 2 rakah nafila every time it happens like that. So maybe that was what earned me such an exalted position. So this is to tell us and reignite our knowledge about the virtue of wudu. If you perform wudu regularly, there is a special exalted position from Allah that will be given to you. Whether you will notice or not, you just know that your life is not the same spiritually. Thank you, sir.
Shay, I think you didn't understand my question. It's not to do with wudu or the etiquette of wudu or the rulings. It's specifically wiping over the socks. Is the question? Not
wiping over the socks.
Yes, that was the question. So what's the so the period, like either the 24 hours as a resident or the 72 hours as a traveler, when does the period start to count? Does it start to count from the first time you wipe after you lose your wudu, after you renew your wudu, or does it start to count from the time you lose that first wudu? So that was the question.
It's from the first time. It's from the first time.
So from the first wipe. Like,
yeah.
So when you renew. So, for example, let's give an example. I think that will maybe bring it more clear. So I prayed Fajr. I did my wudu for Fajr, then I put on the socks, and I prayed. I went on by my day, and then maybe 3 hours later, I lost my wudu. But I didn't do my wudu until 6 hours later, for example, when Zuhr came on. So and then I wiped at Zuhr time 6 hours later, but I lost my wudu 3 hours before. So does the timing, say for example, I'm a resident, so the 24 hours, does it start to count from that time of Zuhr that I renewed my wudu and I wiped, or does it start to count from the time I lost my wudu 3 hours? I did the first wudu and I put my socks on.
It comes from the first one, from the first time you wear the hoof or the socks, not from when you renewed it, not from the first wipe, but from the first time you wore it. You understand?
Okay, yeah, carry on. Yeah.
Yes, that is when the counting starts, not when you wipe. And scholars, they are of different opinions on it. They said it's a grace. Some would not. Some did not even believe that there is a terminal time for it. But the best one is to count from when you wear the hoof or the socks, not from when you renew and you wipe. Yeah.
That's a different thing you say. I think I will counter this by saying, why would you start to count from then when you still have wudu? Because my understanding as well is that if you take off the socks, your wudu is still valid. Yes, it may nullify you wiping over the socks, particularly if you've got najasa on you as well. But why, if I still have wudu, why would you start to count from there and not from when I lose my wudu, or not from when I wipe? Because when I did the first wudu and I put on the socks, I didn't wipe. I have my normal wudu, and it's just like, again, putting on clothes. I'm wearing clothes, I'm not wearing clothes. It doesn't matter. I still have wudu as it is. So I'm trying to understand your own position as the first time I've actually heard this as well. So why would it start to count from the time I put on the socks, even though I've got wudu and I've not ever wiped on it at all? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm probably going into too much picky and ikhtilaf issues here, but I'm just trying to understand the evidence from where you're, because, and I know with this we can apply logic. Obviously, the evidence comes from the Sunnah, and I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of issues with kufaying that some scholars even say you can't wipe on things, thick socks or whatever, but I'm just trying to understand that from your own point of view, and well, I'll say that for maybe not your point, but based on what you think a lot of scholars say. But I've not ever heard of this, is that if the wudu is valid, and the socks is just like an extra layer you're putting on at that time, and it would only start to count as your feet when you wipe over it, or let's say, for example, when you lose your wudu. I'm trying to understand how it will start to count from the point you put on the actual socks, even though your wudu is still valid.
There's one thing we need to generally understand. When it comes to fiqh, it means you are at liberty to choose whatever that pleases you. And you are at liberty to support a particular view and denounce another one. Not that you will not respect it. I have said it in this class some years ago that fiqh is just like law. Fiqh is not hadith. It's not Quran. And it is something that there is no clear-cut evidence that this is how it's supposed to be when we have divergent views. That's why we have been having divergent views since the time of scholars, as Sahaba companions. So it is like going to court to defend a case. The lawyer that is more logical may likely win the case, even if the case does not actually go in line with his argument. So the one that appears more logical to the judge is the real opinion, is what the judge will base his opinion on. So that is just it. It is not something we need to be dragging or to be talking, disturbing our mind upon. Once you know there are options, go with anyone that is easy for you. Why I said, and I'm of the opinion that is from the time of the first wudu, is that it is during that time you are putting on socks. And you can never wipe on a socks without having previous wudu. It is the wudu that validates your wiping, not your you wearing socks that validates wiping. So since that wudu is on you, it counts from that time, not at the time you are wiping, because you cannot wipe without having a previous wudu. So that is the evidence. You can never wipe on a socks without having done a previous wudu. So that is what's validated. So it counts from that time.
Assalamu
Okay.
alaikum, doctor.
Yeah.
Counts along with that.
One second, sir. 1 second, GM. And yeah, I'm gonna. I don't want to drag you. You know me well, but just another thing now, and I understand, and this is obviously delving into usul fiqh and issues and technical terms, but in terms of you just said that the wudu validates it, which I understand, but isn't the point of the socks, because the whole point of the permissibility to wipe is the fact that you had wudu at the beginning, and that's why we can wipe over it, because we've already washed off the feet, so the feet is clean. Unless you take off the socks, you get najasa on it. That's a different issue. But your feet is already clean. So based on your statement that the wudu validates it and you cannot wipe on that, but you will renew the wudu anyway. The only difference is that you're not washing your feet, you're just wiping, because at the original wudu, you've already washed it. It's clean, it's pure at this stage, without taking off the socks again and getting into dirtiness or so on. But yeah, I think it's because of time and to let others and to let others come in. I think I would just leave it there. I understand what you're saying, sir, but I still think that I'm still trying to find to see, and I think you've totally given like a sort of logical evidence that because we have the wudu from the first, that if that's what validates it. But I'm still thinking that because the wiping, the concession to wipe is the fact is I'm not sure if I'm articulating myself here. The concession to wipe is not to take off the socks again, or not to wash the feet. So that's why I'm understanding is that, okay, if you were to say to me that wiping start from counting, it starts to count from the first wipe, it will make more sense, because again, the concession of why the wiping over the kufa came into is the fact that you don't have to wash your feet again, or you don't even have to wash the feet with the socks, you just wipe over it. But Allah alam, jazakumullah khairan, Sheikh. You're more knowledgeable than I am, obviously, but yeah. I'm just trying to learn this. Yeah, so I'll let others come in just so that I don't take the whole time. Alajo Okoya, please come in, sir.
I think my question is quite different from yours. I just want to confirm validity of wiping on a socks, either synthetic or unsynthetic, is 24 hours. Is that correct?
Some said 72, some said 24.
Some said 24, or some said 72.
Yeah.
I think 24 will be.
And then there is no, in the original sense of heat, it's an open case. It's an open case by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it was the scholars. It was that said, okay, let's think. Let's put a limit to what Like oral kidney, what's it called? The kosru, observing short salat while on traveling. It's an open case. But scholars said, okay, ah, ọjọ́ mẹ́ta lèèyàn fi ń jàlejò. Gbogbo ọjọ́ tí ìbá ló ń lu yẹn náà ni. Kìnìkan. Divergent views wá dé. So whichever you choose, you are on the right path. Are you getting it, sir?
Now, yeah, I do. Thank you.
Because the prophet said something, and the scholars of Usul, they hold on to it very well. We need not to confine what is not confined in religion. What is throw opened, we need not to confine it. And Allah has mentioned the halal. They are clear to us. He has mentioned the haram. They are clear to us. The prophet said, wasakata and ashya, and Allah keeps quiet on some certain things. Rahmatan lakum, as a mercy for you. So what Allah keeps quiet on, there will be divergent opinions on them. But do not choose the one that will confine you, that will not allow you to live and breathe well. And we need to understand as well, one sterling quality of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is that ma khuyira bayna ithnayn illa ikhtara aysarahuma. If the prophet is given an option, let me say alternative, he always choose what? The simplest of them. So it's a sterling quality of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, regardless of what any scholar say. If there are alternatives for things, choose the easiest, because that is what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to choose. So don't confine what is open. We need to get this in as Muslims so that we will not confine ourselves and will not make possibilities impossible for ourselves. You can go ahead with your question, sir.
I think it's
I'm
right
done.
Yeah. So the Brother Abdulaziz, and this will be the last question for tonight because of yeah, of time. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, Ustaz and everyone. I'm just here to buttress the point of Ustaz about the count starting from when you put the socks on, mainly because based on the figure about this thing, the socks being put on represent your feet. So I believe the point of gaining new feet is when the timer should start, or where the timing should start. Because everything you do is now on the new feet. So the point at which you gain the new feet should be where the timing starts, because that represents your feet once it's on. Just to buttress Ustaz's point. I don't know if it makes sense.
Thank you very much. We are at liberty to choose and to make options if when there are alternatives, when there are options. So we are not confined to stick to one, but you go with the one you are convinced. Thank you very much for that.
I actually think you buttressed my point, but I would not put the card
Yes,
there.
sir.
Hello?
Yeah, I think what you've mentioned buttresses my point rather than his, but yeah, let's leave that. Let's leave that to the academics. Yeah.
Inshallah, discussion will be going further in the background, maybe in the forum.
Jazakumullah khairan all for another wonderful and intriguing session, and most especially to our teacher for educating us once again.